guess we should discuss Musk's involvement in this because he's brought this to global attention, again filling the open goal that is many have been missed. Andrew Norfolk, I actually was on Newsagents discussing this, and he said he's unhappy about how the grooming gangs are now being, or the rape gangs is now being used as a political tool. He seemed like he was almost on the verge of tears. My immediate reaction, as I've already said, is thank God that this has now been given the attention, because maybe now we'll head towards ending it at last. But Musk has been tweeting pretty, it's shooting from the hip, and he's brought Jess Phillips. He's called Jess Phillips, the Labour safeguarding minister. I think he's called for her to resign, and has also said that she's a rape gang apologist. I mean, we need to talk about Jess Phillips. Do you think Musk has gone overboard, or do you share my opinion that this is a good thing?
Oh, I massively share your opinion this is a good thing. It's absolutely a good thing, and we should be very grateful for all this talk as well for the left about how billionaires are a terrible thing. Well, all right, I was taking the richest man in the world to expose on a global stage a problem predominantly affecting working class young white girls. So there's a certain irony there, I think. I'm very glad he's done it. Now, there's language that he uses. I mean, he's got FU money, right? So he doesn't have to worry about being sued, really. He doesn't have to worry about paying damages to people in a way that you and I, or the vast majority of people, would have to consider. So he can say things. Now, he might have gone a bit too far at times, a rape gang apologist. Okay? Well, I wouldn't have called her that. But what I would say is she's not doing anything about it now, is she? And what I saw last night, that was in the GB News office and on BBC, we have all the screens up, BBC, Sky News, ITV, they all went out at the same time, pretty much, which was Jess Phillips being sat down, interviewed by other women, I think, which is a context that I think is important. I'm going to come on to here. And it was all about her. And
the interviewers were all women.
The interviewers were all women, and Jess Phillips. And it was all about her and how, as a woman, she now feels incredibly vulnerable because Elon Musk has turned her life upside down. And I looked at that, and before people say, "Oh, I'm guilty here of toxic masculinity," this was actually something that was pointed out to me by my wife. So, she was the one who clocked this, as she so often does before I do. But and that to me seemed as though it was a bit of a women's love-in about like, oh gosh, what Elon Musk has done is he's put me in danger. Now, a couple of things on that. I don't want to see any politician in danger. I don't want to see any politician facing physical threats. I think the reason why Jess Phillips is getting a lot of stick is because she's not doing her job. And that's the main point. Yeah. And the killer question in this was eventually when it came was, have you actually spoken to any members of any victims of the Oldham? And she went, no, but I plan to do so. Sorry, that should have been the first question, and the interview should not have moved on from there. And it should have been, why not? Why aren't you doing your job? How does Elon Musk tweets make you feel? And also, Jess Phillips has not exactly been shy in the past. I mean, her Twitter feed has been littered with her calling people pricks, telling people to F off. She's been pretty forthright in her things going forward. Again, I don't want to see her face any kind of physical threat whatsoever at all. I absolutely hate that. But she's fundamentally, for me, she is not doing her job, and she can't clutch her pearls and cry into a herbal tea over that.
Yeah. So I think that this is just to colour this in for people new to, particularly American listeners, new to Jess Phillips. Jess Phillips is Labour's safeguarding minister. She, after Oldham Council had requested a government inquiry into what happened in the Oldham constituency regards the rape gangs, she kept them waiting for 4 months before saying, no, it needs to happen at council level. There had already been a Greater Manchester inquiry into this, published in 2022, and that found that, yes, young girls have been let down, but it didn't expose any sort of rape gang. Now, I think it seems obvious that you can't have the accused or those alleged to be involved in a crime or wrongdoing involved in overseeing the inquiry into that crime. So that's what the people of Oldham, the victims of Oldham, wanted. And she said no. And I think it's about to be discussed in Parliament. People listening will already know to the answer to this, and we'll come to that. Whether there'll be a national inquiry, we'll come to that in a minute. So Jess Phillips has said that there won't be a government inquiry. There's a big question about inquiries. There have been a few inquiries that maybe we should also get to. Why has Elon Musk said she's a rape gang apologist? Well, there's also a famous, maybe I don't know this fully, maybe it's just as simple as that. Maybe that was all the detail he went off to say that. She famously was on Question Time a few years ago after the Cologne rape,
the mass rape, about 1,000 women, I think, on one night in New Year's Eve in Cologne, wasn't it?
Now, what year was that?
It would have been around 2016, 2017, because it must have been shortly after Angela Merkel opened the floodgates.
And she went on to Question Time and said that's like a Birmingham on a Saturday night or something like that. And I don't think she was. I'm not quite actually totally sure how I interpret what she's saying there.
Idiocy.
Yeah, perhaps. And she's also someone who's had trouble herself from her Muslim. It's not a Muslim majority, her constituency, but it's the largest group within her constituency. And she was given a lot of trouble from them in the July general election.
She nearly lost.
She nearly lost, and she was getting heckled when she was up on the rostrum. So she finds herself in a weird place. Why do you think? Do you think she's a rape gang apologist?
I don't just think she's a rape gang apologist. I think she's made excuses for things in the past where she didn't need to. I mean, for example, when the pro-Palestine stuff was kicking off and we had that night of the far-right riots that never happened, in her constituency, there was a group of Muslim lads on mopeds with balaclavas on a roundabout because they had apparently received some kind of WhatsApp or Telegram message that the far right were on the way. And Sky News had a reporter there, a couple of people there, and they were intimidating. They were chasing them down the street. They were like just flagrantly breaking the law as well. Later that night, a bloke got his head kicked in outside a pub by one of these people. And Jess Phillips, instead of basically saying like, you need to go home, this is criminality, this is ridiculous, you can't have this, basically justified it by saying, well, they thought the far right was turning up. Well, so that's an apology, isn't it? That's making an apology for bad behaviour. So, when she was speaking about Cologne, she says, oh, well, Birmingham looks a bit like that on a Saturday night. So whether or not she's an apologist for grooming gangs, I don't know. And she would obviously say she's not. Has she done everything that she possibly could at times, I think, to avoid the issue or to make excuses for the bad behaviour of other people? Yes, 100%. 100%. And now, crucially for her, she is in a position of power. She's recorded on record a few years ago, saying that the grooming gang issue, the rape gang issue, is going on still in every single town and city. So she's on record saying that. And now she holds the keys to the office that could do something about that. And she's chosen not to. So what is that then? Is that an apology for it? Is it? I don't know. Is it her majority now in her seat is something like 690? I think it's a Rizzler paper of a majority. I would go as far as to say I would probably expect her to lose that next time round, the way that it's going. And she nearly lost to an overtly pro-Gaza candidate so she is bang in trouble in that constituency if she is seen to be doing anything that could be perceived as targeting disproportionately the local Muslim community. And I'm sorry, but I don't think someone who's in that position is the correct person to be making a judgment on whether or not a full inquiry into Pakistani rape gangs should be taking place.
If you enjoyed that clip from the Winston Marshall Show, remember to press like and subscribe, and you can watch the full interview if you press here.